asked to name some monuments or historical buildings. Amongst the various names that strike in our mind include Qutub Minar. Let's take a closer look at the first balcony of this monument, which was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak around 1199. In this image of first balcony of the Qutub Minar, you will notice that under the balcony a pattern is created by small arches and geometrical designs. You will also notice two bands of inscriptions written in Arabic language under the balcony. Again, look at the picture carefully. Can you notice that the surface of the minar is curved and angular? Just imagine the accuracy and skill of the craft persons that they used to place the inscriptions on such a curved and angular surface. If we talk about the construction work in the 13th century, very few buildings were constructed of stone or bricks 800 years ago. During the time between 8th and 18th century, two kinds of structures were built by the kings and other officers. The first kind of structures were forts, palaces, garden residences and tombs. These structures were the safe, protected and impressive places of rest. The second kind of structures were built for public activity such as temples, mosques, tanks, wells, caravanserais and bazaars. As the rulers were supposed to take care of their people or subjects, they believed that if they built such structures which could be useful and comfortable for the public, the people would praise them. Not only the kings but some other persons such as merchants also built temples, mosques and wells. The large mansions, which are called havelis, built by merchants for themselves, could survive only from the 18th century. The monuments not only show the skill and craftsmanship of the workers at that period, but also give us the knowledge about the technologies used for their construction. Let's take example of roof of a structure. An easy way of making a roof is by placing wooden beams or a slab of stone across four walls. But when a large room with an elaborate superstructure is to be made, it is actually a difficult task. Children, superstructure means the part of a building above the ground floor. So constructing a detailed superstructure needs special skills. There are evidences that the architects between the 7th and 10th centuries had started adding more rooms, doors and windows to buildings. However, the style of making roofs, doors and windows was still same as earlier, in which a horizontal beam was placed across two vertical columns. This style of architecture was called Trebiat or corbelled. The Trebiat style of architecture was used in the construction of temples, mosques, tombs and in buildings attached to large stepped wells, which are called bawlis. Now let's see the construction of temples in the early 11th century with the examples of two famous temples of that time. One is the Kandariya Mahadeva temple and other is the Rajarajeshwara temple. The Kandariya Mahadeva temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva, was built in the year 999 by the king Dhangadeva of the Chandela dynasty. The plan of the temple shows that an ornamented gateway led to an entrance and the main hall, which was called Mahamandapa. The place shown with an arrow in this image, in Mahamandapa dances were performed. After Mahamandapa was the main shrine called Garbhagriha. Again it is shown here, the name is written of the place Garbhagriha. You can see it in the image. At this place the image of the main deity was placed. The Garbhagriha was meant only for the king, his immediate family and priests to perform ritual worship. Kandariya Mahadeva temple is the largest and most ornate temple among the temple group found at Khajuraho. The Khajuraho complex had royal temples where entry of common mass or common people was not allowed. These temples are the example of beautiful and detailed carved sculptures. The second temple is the Rajrajeshwara temple at Thanjavur, built between 1003 and 1010. This temple had the tallest shikhara amongst the temples of its time. But constructing such a temple was not an easy task. See, nowadays cranes are used to lift the material for high-rising buildings. But in those days, there were no cranes, and to lift the 90-ton stone manually to the top of the shikhar was too heavy. So the architects at that time solved this problem by building an inclined path to the top of the temple. Here I have shown a picture which is giving you the understanding of an inclined path. The inclined path which was made was used to take the boulder to the top of the temple. The boulder was placed on rollers and was rolled all the way to the top. For this task, the architects started the path more than 400 kilometers away from the temple, so that the path would not be very steep. The path was dismantled, or you can say demolished, after the construction of the temple, as it was not required then. Still, a village near the temple is called Charupallam, which means village of the incline. The shikhar of Rajrajeshwara temple is almost double in height as that of the Kandariya Mahadeva temple. So these were the examples of temple construction in the early 11th century. Now from the 12th century, there are two noticeable developments in technology and style. The first development was that sometimes the arches were made to bear or to carry the weight of the superstructure above the doors and windows. This form of architecture was called arcuate. Here's the image of a true arch. In this image, a stone at the center of the arch is mentioned as keystone. This keystone transferred the weight of the superstructure to the base of the arch. An example of the structure with true arch is the Alai Darwaza of Quwwat al-Islam Mosque in Delhi, which was built in early 14th century. The second development in the technology and style from the 12th century was the frequent use of limestone cement in construction. This limestone cement was very high quality cement. When the limestone cement was mixed with stone chips, it hardened into concrete. With the use of the limestone cement, the task of construction of large structures became faster and easier. Here's the painting from the Akbarnama from 1590 to 1595. This painting shows the construction site of the water gate at Agra Fort.